History often hides its darkest moments in the shadows cast by famous victories and defeats. While textbooks speak of epic battles and heroic generals, entire chapters of human suffering remain buried in forgotten villages and unmarked graves. This story is about one such village, Prebilovci, where, during the Second World War, an atrocity unfolded so brutal that even the occupying military officers were horrified enough to write directly to their dictator. During the Second World War, many know the names of battles like Normandy and Stalingrad, but behind these headlines were remote Balkan villages where entire communities vanished overnight, not just casualties of war, but targets of calculated ethnic violence. Prebilovci, a small Serbian village in Herzegovina, was one such place. In August 1941, it became the site of a massacre that shocked even the Italian army officers occupying the region. This event is preserved in a letter written by Italian General Alessandro Lusano to Benito Mussolini, stored to this day in military archives. At the time, the Kingdom of Italy was allied with Nazi Germany and supported the puppet state called the Independent State of Croatia, ruled by the Ustaše, a radical nationalist regime under Ante Pavelić. Determined to forge an ethnically pure territory, they persecuted Serbs, Jews, Roma, and political opponents relentlessly. The Ustaše's brutality is well documented by historians and by institutions like the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, which ranks their actions among Europe's worst crimes outside Nazi Germany's direct control. In Prebilovci, survivors and local records agree, over 800 villagers were killed. Many on the spot, others thrown alive into natural sinkholes and caves, a chilling method used widely across the region to erase entire communities. General Lusano found the aftermath inside the village school. His letter to Mussolini described a scene that defied reason: the loss of innocent children and their teacher, victims of an ideology that masked hatred as patriotism. Lusano warned his dictator that such crimes would stain Italy's cultural conscience forever if left unchallenged. Italian officers were not alone in their disgust. Historians note that many within the Italian military command tried to curb the worst of the Ustaše's violence, partly to prevent uprisings, partly to maintain some shred of military honor. The few men who escaped Prebilovci's tragedy fled into the mountains. With their families lost and homes destroyed, they joined resistance groups, either the Yugoslav partisans or the Chetniks, becoming some of the fiercest fighters against Axis collaborators in the region. Today, historians, including the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum, point to villages like Prebilovci alongside notorious sites like Jasenovac, confirming the scope of genocide in the Balkans. Local historians and descendants also work tirelessly to keep this story alive, so that new generations understand the true cost of ethnic hatred and political fanaticism. Prebilovci is no longer just a village that mourns. According to local heritage foundations, and as reported on platforms like Jadovno.com, it is now being promoted as a place for student excursions, a living classroom where the silence of its rebuilt Orthodox church and its memorial crypt remind visitors that the greatest lesson is not how people died, but how easily humanity can lose its soul if hatred rules unchecked. General Lusano's letter is more than paperwork. It is a moral record of a moment when an officer chose to speak out, rather than hide behind orders. It reminds us that even during war, silence and complicity can condemn entire generations to shame. So why share this forgotten tragedy now? Because the seeds of ethnic violence and blind loyalty still exist wherever fear is weaponized for power. Prebilovci stands not just as a village once lost, but as a lesson for the world. When hate disguises itself as patriotism, it can destroy the very communities it claims to protect. May we remember Prebilovci. May we guard against any ideology that teaches us to fear our neighbors. And may we honor those innocent lives by making sure history does not repeat itself ever again.